Well, no idea what happened there. No idea how that sounded or what was going on. Man, I've had that song in my head for weeks. Weeks. And I've been blowing over it and playing it over and playing over it in my head. And I was like, that's it. Like, we got to jump through the hoops, do the stuff, download the track, get the drumless version, import it into Logic. I turned on the click on Logic, and that song, the tempo was a little elastic, so, I couldn't use the click. So I was like, whatever. I had to harken back to the days of playing along with records in my youth with no click. I was like, okay, we've done this a million times. Let's do it again. It's just like before. And sure, my time was elastic too, but that was more about like, it was kind of appropriate to Father's Day, first of all. So happy Father's Day to any fathers out there. I'm a father to a 2-year-old dog. That's it. I don't know. Does that count? So happy Father's Day to fathers out there. And so because that song's been in my head, I was like, it's kind of appropriate. So this one goes out to the one I love. That's my dad. My dad, Bubba, his name was Lauren. Everyone called him Bubba. Everyone. And so when I was little, folks called me Bubba Jr. for a while, off and on. And for a while, I kind of didn't like that name, because for a while I didn't like my dad, like a lot of kids. But yeah, no, I'd be proud to be Bubba Jr. now. But my father's no longer with us. But that was for him. That's for you, Dad. That goes out to you, the one I love. And yeah, it really is interesting. And those of you that have seen maybe more than one stream or have seen me play in any capacity, I think you might agree with something that I kind of noticed, and that is like, the emotion that gets conjured from music kind of feeds into the drumming, and as a result, like I end up playing stuff and playing in a way that I don't normally play without music, unless that music is like fresh in my head. But yeah, it's just kind of this. It just goes back to the roots, man, of when I was young and just bashing along to rock records. And I think there's value to that energy, when you're in a rock situation. I think that having that kind of rock energy, I mean, I want to say balls, but I don't know if that's appropriate in 2023. I don't want to offend anyone. But yeah, point being is like that feeling, that energy of playing along to a song that you really like, And as folks know, like, I'm not playing along with a lot of music in here these days. Like, every weekend I just kind of turn on the mics and just kind of improvise and stuff. And I did that too here. But yeah, playing along with music, it's just a different mode, man. It's just a completely different mode. And now thinking back to the the many gigs that I did, like, over the decades, it's like some of the best drumming highs that I can think of are playing behind music that you really like and music that really reaches you. There's nothing like playing drums behind a band, behind a tune that you really like, because you get the benefit of enjoying the music while making it. And it's like, those waves that some tunes have, you get to that climax or that part you really like, and you're like, there's just no way to describe that. And I really like that can only happen through real life. No amount of it, like advanced technology, could simulate that. I mean, even like the perfect, like, whatever, in 100 years, like the goggles and the virtual whatever, like I'm playing along with all my heroes and we're playing, like it's not the same. It's not the same as that organic, real life energy and communication that happens when people play music together. It's pretty crazy, actually. Makes me kind of miss it. But, for kids that are, younger folks or whatever your age is, if you're on the internet, you're just learning how to play drums, like, playing with real musicians, playing music that you like, that's the finish line, really. That's the finish line. And it was nice to get a little waft of that today. Among other odors in here. Pardon me. Anyways, what's going on? My name is Steve Holmes. Thanks for hanging out. We're streaming live from the drum room here in Los Angeles. It's June 18th, 2023. I forgot to get a new water, so we're stuck with the old one. Cheers. I imagine it's possible that the stream got taken down right away because of the copyright with that song and whatever, but I didn't care. I just wanted to do it. I really needed to do that. So yeah, thanks for hanging out. Let's, I don't know how long we're going to go today. We'll see if folks are saying anything. Let's see, Ryan Cox with the $5 donation. Thank you very much, Ryan, on YouTube. Says, says, hippo character runs at high speed, his legs forming a ball-like blur. Okay. I think that's a description of an emoticon that he put, which is really funny. That's the literal description of his emoticon. So let's take Ryan's word for it that it's a hippo running really fast, and that's a good thing. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate the donation, the super. Anyone else that wants to contribute, we're always down with that. Let's see. Raymond Marford on YouTube says, "Turn it down. I'm calling the cops. Turn it down, or I'm calling the cops." Tell me about it, man. Tell me about it. I'm very lucky to have, a situation here where I don't have to worry about that in terms of my neighbors and stuff. Let's see, Ryan says, in the past you've mentioned picking a grip and sticking with it, but I find myself wanting to play traditional for jazz and matched for stuff like this. Any thoughts on switching back and forth? Yeah, man, do your thing. Do your thing. If that's the guy you want to be, then get excellent and be that guy, I mean, even all the traditional grip players switched, I've seen, I think Vinny is he's really the only guy that's gigged as much as he has over decades on the size of the venues with the different, no one has gigged as much as he has in terms of the upper level and all the venues, and there's plenty of footage of him switching from traditional match. And sometimes it's it's a facility thing, and I mean, I'm not speaking for Vinny, just generally speaking, sometimes it's a facility thing, sometimes it's an emotional thing, I just need that thwap, but if you're limited by your technique, then I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but just know that that's what that is. That's what that is. And so if you don't want that to happen, you just need to work on it. I can play with pretty high energy, traditional grip, as you see. And part of that was just getting, a good backbeat. And it's funny because last stream, while I was playing, I actually switched to match grip for a couple backbeats in a groove. And I went back and listened for was there really a big difference? And there's a little bit of difference. There's just a tiny bit more, meat and potatoes behind the backbeat thing, especially if you're going to switch to butt end or something like that. I mean, for me, it's just about achieving your goals and playing at the excellent level that I try to play at. And so if you have a certain standard, a certain level, and you're trying to, then, just do your thing, man. I mean, just try to solve issues. If you're having issues, try to solve them. Don't do it because it's the only way I can get around the problem. And if that's the case, then I would try to solve the problem because you don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to bash with the traditional grip, and next thing you know, you're hurting yourself. That's no good. So there's no right or wrong way. There are ways. Some ways are better than others, but there's no right or wrong way. There's a number of things that feed into that decision. There's emotion. I'm feeling this way, and I'm feeling like this. Other times I'm feeling like this. But if it's a technical limitation, if it's literally there's a problem, I have to switch because there's a problem, then that's something I would want to deal with. Especially if you want to play traditional grip. It's well, I want to do this, but I can't because of problems, then I would solve the problems. So I think that's enough of that. So Ryan, thanks a lot for the donation. I really appreciate it. Matthias is on YouTube. Great to catch the stream again. Matthias, you're on all the streams. You're the man. Love your playing. Love your drum sound. Everyone check out Matthias. He is a fantastic, amazing drummer. Let's see. Stanislaw Romanowski, I recognize your name. Welcome back on YouTube. Says, hello, Steve. I'm glad to see your stream. As usual, much inspiring. Can you explain, please, examples of hi-hat, snare, syncopation during swing fast tempos on the ride, like what Vinny Weckl does? Thank you. Wow, that's a loaded question. We'll stick a pin in that. Maybe we'll come back to it. I want to see what other folks are saying here. Let's see. Mattis on YouTube says, "Super. Can you demonstrate where you use 30-second notes and when you use 30-second note triplets?" Wow, man, you guys are coming out with the heavy questions today. Let's see. Christian on Facebook says, "Cool to hear the motif through the soloing." Thank you for noticing, Christian. Like I said, that song's been in my head for a long time, and I thought about, like, I still might do this. Like today, I downloaded that app that takes the drums out of tunes and adds a click, and I it's just like, it's a hassle, like using it on my phone, exporting it to the drive, getting it in. It's just like, I just want to play. But yeah, I may do like a custom arrangement of that tune, because I think it might be cool to try a section that only has vocals and like play some solo stuff and like to the click, but like at the right times, like he's singing like fire like during a drum. So I think that would be cool. So I might actually try to do like a custom arrangement of that tune. But yeah, it was definitely in my head, in and out while I was soloing afterwards. So thank you for noticing. Corey says, "Pretty awesome." Thank you, Corey Roberts on Facebook. Ryan's a chatty Cathy here on YouTube. "As far as playing along to music goes, would love to hear you do some Michel Camillo." Oh man, that's probably not going to happen. I love Michel Camillo's stuff, and there's a couple of early recordings of him that I'm very familiar with. His first self-titled recording with Weckl, obviously, and Mark Johnson on bass. Joel Rosenblatt plays on a couple tracks on there too. This is like late 80s, the black and white picture on the cover of his hands and his face, and I think Sweet Sandrine Part 1 is on there. That tune in particular, I think, is a great example of, not to go on a big Weckl tangent, heaven forbid, but like that tune is a great example of like why Weckl was special, because he was young and like that drumming on that tune, it's kind of raw. It's not like the normal like perfect drum sound that he usually has. It's kind of this raw, roomy kind of acoustic drum sound, and that tune, man, the drumming on that tune is kind of untouchable. Sweet Sandrine Part 1. I mean, the trading on there, and it's like, I listened to it actually recently, and I could like, I hear the phrasing and I hear the stuff, and I could, probably figure a lot of that stuff out. I mean, I don't want to sound exactly like that, but the point is this, is like, I remember listening to that in high school in the late 80s when it was new, and having no idea what the heck was going on. Like, is this even in time? Are people allowed to hit cymbals without a bass drum underneath? Like, this is where I was. Like, what is going on? Is that like, if you're not used to like that kind of phrasing, if you're not used to listening to someone that has the freedom to go in and out of subdivisions all over the kit to a quarter note, then you're going to get lost if you don't feel that stuff. Cut to like whatever, I'm 50 now, and I'm like, well, I think I can feel a lot of that stuff. It's like, it's nuts. Whatever. Yeah. I like the Michel Camillo stuff. And that other record he did with Anthony Jackson just as a trio, Michel Camillo, Rendezvous, it's called. Anthony Jackson, Weckl. This is during what I call the Maple Custom era. There's a couple tunes on there that I really like. Blackie is this crazy 6/8 thing. There's a cool tune in 5 on there that kind of helped me actually get comfortable playing in 5. That groove, boom da, boom da, boom da, boom da, da. That's the groove. It's actually track number 5, and it's in 5 on Michel Camillo Rendezvous. There's another tune on there. Oh, it's called like Within or As One, or it's like this deep tune. Anyways, yeah, great stuff on there. I wouldn't want to play along to that. I mean, maybe like, if there was a play along package, but I don't want to play along. I don't want to play along to jazzy tracks that already have drums on them, because I don't think that's going to sound good, first of all. But yeah, I appreciate, the intention behind that thought, like, wanting to see me play along to different kind of tracks like that. Let's see, definitely didn't type that hip hop stuff. I think just post. Oh, the hippo thing. Yeah, it's like it's funny, people post emoticons and it just ends up translating to text here. Let's see. Raymond says, "Seriously, you are awesome, and sharing your heart and soul is awesome." Thank you, Raymond. I really appreciate that, man. Bobby Vincent says, "Hi, Steve and everyone." Bobby Vincent, longtime stream attender. Welcome, Bobby. I remember the first couple streams I did was like literally with my phone in my room in Van Nuys, California, the old room. Like, I had Wi-Fi on my phone, and the iPhones got to the point where it's like the microphone wasn't horrible. And I remember just turning on, just putting in doing the same thing we're doing now. Just playing, talking, some of those early streams. All that stuff's on my YouTube channel. Anyone that's not a YouTube subscriber to my channel, please check out my channel. Hit the subscribe button. There's tons of content on there. I plan on continuing with the content. I'm trying to get the subscriber count up. I think right now we're at, I want to say 23,700 and something. 23,778. So let's get it up there. Let's get it to like, 25 and 30 and whatever. And it's funny because a lot of the big YouTube channels, they have tons of subscribers, and you can buy bots for that kind of thing and whatever. And I wouldn't do that. And I'm not saying that other people do that. I'm just saying that I don't have as many subscribers as other people, and I'm sad. I'm just kidding. Except I'm not kidding. Okay, Matthias said, I noticed when playing match grip, the backbeat and rim shots are somewhat more consistent. Yeah, I believe it, man. But I think that difference between the traditional grip and backbeat, the traditional grip and match grip backbeat, I think like when you're all mic'd up, it's not that much difference. Or maybe it is, and maybe that's a challenge. Like, try to get my traditional grip backbeats to sound like match grip backbeat. Who knows? Maybe that's a thing. Yeah, traditional grip has more of a dynamic range to it. Sure. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I keep coming back to the match grip masters like DeCenzo, Novak, and stuff, and it's like there's kind of nothing that they can't do. But you know my thing with traditional grip that I always talk about. It's like with match grip, this is the big difference for me. Just really quick. Like match grip, if I let go of the stick, I'm going to drop it. Traditional grip, if I let go of the stick, it's still like relaxed and cradled in my hand. I like that. So I'm kind of free to, if you get the ability to kind of finesse your fingers and your wrist a little bit, like you can kind of use that to your advantage, I don't have to worry so much about like dropping it and controlling it, And sure, chances are, like if you master a match grip, you're just not going to drop it anyway, because it's still sitting in my hand too. It's because my fingers are closed, right? So it's not going to fall. But if I open my hand, it is going to fall, and that's not the case with traditional grip. That's not the case. I should look at the camera here and see how this looks. Yeah, that's not the case here. And so, just kidding. All right. Sorry. I like traditional grip. I grew up playing match grip, like with Rush records, you guys. Come on, I can do both. What exactly is your hi-hat mic pointed? Oh, where exactly, says Bobby Vincent. I've messed with a couple of different, I don't get terribly particular about this kind of thing. It's not at the bell, it's over. I mean, I don't know. You can't really. I don't want to pick up this laptop and like move it around. There's a lot of cables plugged into it, and if any of them become unplugged, then the wheels are going to come off of this thing. But you can see the angle it's at. I mean, normally if it's flat or if it's or it's pretty much vertical. It's not on the bell, but it's very close to the bell, Bobby, the hi-hat mic, and it's like a thumb. It's not even a full thumb distance away. It's pretty close. And I've heard different things. Obviously, people say, right on the edge, or like underneath, or like, horizontal, pointing at, like, everyone's got their thing. And, I've tried a couple different things. And honestly, once I get it to a point where I'm like, okay, it's good enough, then I just leave it and I just move on to the next thing. I'm not like, I don't get super OCD scientist about it. I don't. I'm just like, does it sound good? Is this working? Is what I'm trying to play being conveyed? Yes? Okay, then let's just move on. That was for Bobby Vincent, asked about the hi-hat mic. Let's see. Jorge Ruiz says, could you give us some tips to develop ghost notes with match grip? How dare you? I'm just kidding. I mean, honestly, like my tips for match grip would be the same for traditional grip when it comes to ghost notes. I don't know how long I can stream today, so I'm hesitant to like dive into any super meaty questions that are going to take a long time to answer. Let's see. Christian on Facebook says, keep it up, Steve. Really enjoy your streams. As I said before, going to watch the rest tomorrow. Always useful information to pick up. Thank you, Christian, on Facebook for hanging out. Christian Senager. Senager? Sorry. I'm going to be 51 a week from Monday, so my eyes are like really going. Let's see, Matthias says, I compared my recorded snare tracks, match versus traditional, and the transients were more consistent. So for single pop and rock stuff, I would always use matched. Interesting, Matthias. Yeah, that's good information, actually. Matthias is a really good traditional grip, and I haven't seen you play match too much, so I can't speak to that, but yeah, that's interesting actually. Bobby Vincent says, yeah, it looks like it's at the bell. It's not because of the way the camera's pointed. It's not. It's next to the bell. Talking about the hi-hat mic again. 10-4, just curious. Happy Father's Day. Thank you. Yeah. That's why I get you. I was born in 71 and went to high school in central New Jersey. Yeah. I was born in 72. Went to high school in South Jersey. Mainland Regional High School in Linwood, New Jersey. Generation X Jersey, baby. Okay, well, I think we're all caught up with the comments, so let's go back to some of these meaty questions. Stanislaw had one, right? Inspiring. Can you... Oh, example of hi-hat, snare, syncopation during swing fest tempo. Man, that's... Yeah. I'm not really good at that stuff, to be honest. Like up-tempo swing, you know, the faster the tempo is, the less notes I can play. Let me try to think. In terms of like snare drum and hi-hat, I mean, there's like, I mean, I don't know. This is just one of those times where I should just shut up and play. And if I stumble onto something cool, I can just slow it down and tell you what it is. But I don't know how deep we can get into this. Let's see. I'll just shut up and play. All right. This is one of those times. Should we do the multicam? Multicam. I mean, my up-tempo, like, I can't even play that fast, like swing. I'm all rusty. All right, I'm going to shut up. So yeah, a couple different tempos there. There's not a lot going on really. I mean, a lot of that left hand phrasing, a lot of that snare drum phrasing is it's simple stuff. But I mean, let me try to play like kind of a cool phrase, like slow, and then I'll just speed it up. Maybe that'll help. So just a simple, so I like to do the like checking the hi-hat followed by a buzz, and that phrase was actually a little tricky to get without stopping the swing pattern. A lot of times, if you don't have the coordination to play what you're trying to play against the swing pattern, then you just play quarter notes. which is fine, right? But I want to try to get it against the swing pattern. But that's just one example of like one musical phrase. I mean, I've got a video on my channel about, you know, various jazz tips, and a lot of the stuff is in there. But let me try to play that same phrase a little faster, I guess. So that was just, and that was just one phrase, and I was just thinking like, like that. That's what I was thinking. Sorry. And so that was me like going through the process of you know, working it out, you know, getting the independence against the swing pattern. Man, this stick is on its last legs. Look at that. The tip is like all beat to hell, and it doesn't even sound like I can feel it not like hitting squarely on the cymbal. We should really get another stick. Let's try this one. All right, see you later, dead stick. Yeah, so that's just one example of one phrase, and that would be my process for working out that particular phrase. Left foot independence is a thing, but I find that honestly, as cool as that stuff is, a lot of times it just breaks up the swing. It just breaks it up in a bad way. It's tempting to play like cool independence and stuff like during swing, but a lot of the time it just interrupts, really. You're probably better off not playing that kind of stuff, really. Just keep that hi-hat on 2 and 4, play some nice little swinging phrases with the left hand, and just keep that, you know, chicketing. Like, it's all about that swing, man. A hi-hat on 2 and 4, a swing pattern, driving those quarters with the swing pattern, and that's really the most important thing. It's not about like busyness, and because a lot of times, to be honest, like this is why Jeff Tain Watts is my favorite jazz drummer. Is like he could play busy, but it still swings. You know, some of my other favorite drummers, you know, they play like busy swing stuff, and you know, it kind of sounds cool, but it's not swinging. I mean, in terms of like, you know, that walking bass, hey, check it. You know, you start like playing stuff, and it's like you're literally interrupting the groove. So it's just like busyness for busyness sake, a lot of that stuff. And I'm totally guilty of that. So, okay, so that was for Stanislaw, a little straight ahead up-tempo phrase broken down at various tempos. Let's see. What's that? How do you say M-A-T-T-I-A? Matia? Can you demonstrate 30-second notes and when you use 30-second note triplets? Yeah, I remember that question before. Man, like the subdivision that you use when you're, you know, if you're playing fast, it depends on the tempo. You know? I mean, you say 30-second note triplets, like that's nuts. 30-second note triplets is so many notes per quarter note. It's what, 12? 12 notes per quarter note, 30-second note triplets, I think, right? If 60-note triplets is 6, then double that would be 12, right? I mean, I don't know. I haven't spent a lot of time reading like 30-second note triplets or writing it out for that matter. Because if you're playing that many notes, chances are you're feeling it in a halftime thing anyway, and so they're not really 30-second note triplets. But you know, like if you're in a kind of a slow halftime thing and you want to start playing fast and you're thinking in like a double time way, you know, so you know, you know, it's like the subdividing, but still feeling that pulse. Like that's a thing, you know. But at that point, I'm not thinking about, you know, like what subdivision is. I'm just trying to come up with phrases that I've previously worked on in various subdivisions, because I've spent a lot of time like just turn on the click and the various tempos and you know, experiment, like how fast can we get, how slow can we get, like while being on the grid, like how can we subdivide the grid to play cool stuff, you know, when it comes time to solo or blow or whatever, you know. But man, 30-second note, I mean, with 30-second notes, I mean, I'm all about like the, you know, I was not really good at 30-second notes, but then like when I got into, you know, taking paradiddles and applying paradiddle-ish phrasing, you know, we've demonstrated that a bunch on here. And then just subdividing various things into groups of 2 and 4. I mean, you know, the big difference between like triplets and not, you know, like eighth notes, 16th notes, 30-second notes, like subdivisions that you can that you can easily subdivide into groups of 2 and 4. You know, eighth notes, 16th notes, 30-second notes, as opposed to triplets, which, you know, if you want to maintain the flow that spells out the quarter note, you're going to subdivide in groups of 3, 6, and 9. You know, that's not to say you can't do groups of 2 and 4 with triplets. You can, and I do, and I think you should, and that's super cool. But you gotta just know the difference, just the nature of the thing, you know. And of course, you can, you know, you can subdivide anything into anything, but both subdivisions, they have their own nature. They sound a particular way when you subdivide them in odd or even groups, depending upon what kind of subdivision it is. You know, and so it's beneficial. You know, there's value to spending a little time writing out 16-note triplets and putting an accent on every fourth one or every second one or every third one or every fifth one, and just get on a pad and turn on the click and see how that feels. And oh, I see how many bars this takes before I get back to 1 and what's happening here on this subdivision versus that subdivision, you know, like getting a little bit familiar with the math kind of stuff, which is not that hard. I'm not a math person, trust me. My math skills are bad. But like I keep saying, like the rules of rhythm and the mathematics of rhythm do not ever change. They haven't changed for decades. They're not going to change. The only thing that's going to change is your perception based on what you see other people do, because you didn't think something was possible. Like when Virgil Didani hit the scene. And we were like, whoa, you know, like he's doing the drumming equivalent of like lifting cars. So the point is like, you know, you get familiar with this stuff, you get and you apply it to your playing, and like you don't have to worry about it changing. You know, all you have to worry about is just continuing to get familiar with it. So I know that it would be cool to like play some stuff for that question, but I nothing is coming to mind, you know, that I didn't already play in the beginning, you know. Let's see, as playing to music goes. Okay, we talked about Michel, Camilio. It's just there were some other meaty questions in here, or no? Seriously, there's also okay. Thank you. Where exactly is your hi-hat mic? Okay. You have some time to develop ghost notes with match grip. Man, yeah. Watch Novak. Novak's like the ghost note. And Desenzo. Desenzo is my favorite. He's one of my favorite drummers ever, but he's the master, man, of like match grip and just that flow. And he's just, I love Dave Desenzo. He's a much better example for that kind of thing. Let's see, Civitan. Sorry, I'm like, man, everyone has a name that I can't pronounce. Civitan Barak, watching from Australia, Steve, while making breakfast on Monday morning at 7:17 a.m. Thanks for the stream. Yes, good morning, and cheers to Australia. Let's see. Hi from Spain, says Daniel. What's up, Daniel? Thanks for hanging out. Really appreciate it. From Spain, yeah. Let's see. Maybe he can practice some linear phrases between head and snare, setting up the snare hits. Okay, I'm spamming. You can spam all you want, Bobby Vincent. You contribute good stuff to the stream. Let's see. Can you share an example of 5 notes on eighths in a fill? Wow, that's a pretty simple question. We might be able to do that. Jeff Hamilton. Yeah, Matthias mentioned Jeff Hamilton for swing stuff. Yeah, Jeff is a swing veteran. I love Jeff's playing. I mean, the list of artists he's played with speaks for itself. He's one of the greats. You know. Let's see, that's what I was told. It really helps me. Let's see, only comp if it's already been said by the other musicians. Yeah, I don't know about that. Like only mimic what someone else does. Some musicians don't like that actually. Let's see, so many subdivisions. Robert Ligori. Man, I mean, I do lots of 5s, 16th notes, but 5/8 notes. Man, I don't think I've ever done that. Wow. I mean, you accent every 5th. I mean, how many? There's 8/8 note. There's 8/8 notes in a bar of 4, and so you accent 5. You only got 3 left. So just singing it, right? 3, 4, chaka de gra. Right there you go. There's 4 counts. Chaka de gra. Right there's 4 counts of accenting, of taking 8th notes, accenting every 5th. It leaves you 3. So I'm just accenting the last 3. So I guess a 2-bar thing, right? This is just me like singing it before I even try to play it. 3, 4, chaka 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 bam. Like there you go. That actually felt pretty unnatural. Wow, that's crazy. I'd have to write that out. Like 2 bars of every 5th, 8th note. That'll be fun to try. You do it. You write it out. But yeah, this is the process of like just getting started with it. You know, you know, just trying to sing it and keep track of the quarter note, right? All right, I just wanted to play that REM tune really and just do a little playing and that kind of thing. So I think I actually might call it a little early today. It's going to be a short one. I've got some stuff. I've some real life stuff I got to do, but I'm really glad I was able to do this. I'm really glad I was able to play along with that tune. Because like I said, it's just been in my head for ages. So I think we're going to call it. Thank you so much for hanging out, folks. We're going to keep doing this. Don't worry. Next week is my birthday on Monday. I probably am not going to do a stream on my birthday, which kind of sucks. But for the last 2 years, my birthday was on the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And so this year it's on a Monday. So I have to be an adult and work. I'm not one of those guys that's like, it's my birthday, I'm going to call out. No, I've got that, I've got that Jersey work ethic. I can't do that. I grew up bussing tables, you know what I'm saying? All right, so Ryan says, looking forward to hearing you do all 3. Oh, yeah, all 3 Sweet Sandrines. Oh, my God. I'm not familiar with the second one. I think that was the On Fire recording with Smitty Smith. I actually skipped that one. I love Smitty Smith. He's one of my favorite drummers, but I just didn't get that recording. But part 3 with Cliff Almond, I'm very familiar with that tune. Man, the original version. I know they redid it with like a big band, and yeah, I have like that original Sweet Sandrine Part 3 has sentimental value for me. So I hear other versions of it. I'm like, no. But yeah, Cliff Almond, oof, with Michel, so good. Cliff's still doing it. He's touring stadiums in Japan or something. I don't know. I saw him in LA years ago with Wayne Krantz and Tal Wilkenfeld, and we hung out a little bit. Cliff was super nice, super great. He's another guy that like kind of had to reinvent himself because he had cloned the Weckl thing so much and ended up like shedding that and just has his own cool thing now. And I really like Cliff's playing. Yeah, all the Camilio stuff is amazing. Yeah, check out Michel Camilio if you're not hip. There's a lot of recordings with Michel. Great drummers, great musicians. Michel's a great piano player, writes great tunes. There's a lot of meat on that bone. Michel Camilio stuff, yeah. All right, so we're going to call it. Thanks for hanging out. We'll do this again next weekend or the weekend after, whatever. All right, my name's Steve Holmes. We're streaming live from Los Angeles. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow me on Facebook. Kick, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and there's one other that I'm going to. Twitch.tv. Yes, we're streaming to all those right now, actually, courtesy of Restream. So if you're on any of those platforms, check me out, follow me, do all the things. Keep practicing. Practice the right stuff, the right amount. That's what it's about. All right, see you next time. Thanks a lot. My name's Steve Holmes.